Now, Tom Cruise, the celebrity face of Scientology, is in Dublin tomorrow for the premiere of his new movie Oblivion. He'll also be meeting with the government in a private ceremony. Pete Griffiths is a former Scientologist and now active critic of the church. He joins us on the phone now. Hi Pete, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Jonathan. How are you?
I'm very good. Great email we got from you over the Easter weekend. It just said, secret meeting, Tom Cruise, WTF.
Yeah, well, that's just my reaction to reading that the government would do such a thing. I found out from a bit further research that it's actually like a heritage certificate he's getting, which they couldn't give him away 6 months ago. So I'm not sure. He's not exactly being given Irish citizenship, but he is being recognised. And that's what I find scandalous when he promotes Scientology, which is being tried as a criminal organisation in Belgium. And here's this guy with a big smile promoting, a criminal organisation. And that's what really sickens me.
Well, he's also a massive movie star. I mean, a huge deal was made out of Obama being from Moneygall, and it brought, I suppose, the eyes of the world onto Moneygall. So even though Tom Cruise is a big supporter of Scientology, and perhaps there are issues there, he's also a massive movie star. So isn't that just a portion of his life? Aren't they celebrating his career rather than his beliefs?
Well, no, because Tom Cruise was actively recruited by Scientology because he's a big movie star, and they use that to promote themselves and to make it seem more acceptable. I think when Tom wakes up and realises that he's been duped, which he may have already done and been talked back in, if he was actually talking against them, it would be fantastic. With regard to his movies, he can make as many movies as he wants. He can believe what he wants. But the behaviour of the Church of Scientology is absolutely reprehensible, and that has to be spoken about.
Why are celebrities attracted to Scientology? What is it about the teachings? I mean, I know you say they can be pulled in and convinced because of the sway they'll have over other people and perhaps the money they have, but is there something about it that appeals to their egos, perhaps?
I don't think so, but Scientology treats celebrities different to a rank-and-file Scientologist. They have what they call celebrity centres. They very often have their own special entrance. They have their own special course rooms so that they don't have to meet members of the public. See, this again is my big issue with Tom Cruise. Like, if you're on a red carpet with Tom, you're not going to be able to go, oh, Tom, by the way, I want to ask you about Scientology. It's just not going to happen because you're there with everybody else smiling and posing for the cameras. And Tom reckons that his Scientology teaching protect him from people who are what they call suppressive. But the truth is that everyone's in awe of his star status, and that kind of protects him from criticisms. Tom really needs to wake up and take a look at what's gone on over the years. And it's not just like in recent times. I mean, right from the very start in 1950, there were critics of Hubbard and Dianetics and Scientology. So, it's not a new thing. It's just that, something needs to be done before anybody else loses their life needlessly.
How is Scientology, if it is a marketing racket, if it is just a sales pitch? I mean, the criticisms of Scientology are that you basically go in, you get audited, so you get this personality test done, they make you feel like crap, and then they rebuild you, but you have to pay to do these courses. If this is really what Scientology is all about, how has it lasted so long? How has it not been cracked open by the number of criticisms?
That's a fantastic question. Now, what's happening since 2008 is more and more people are leaving, and they're asking the same question. I mean, people who've been in 30 years are now coming out and going, oh my God, how can I be so stupid? So it's like you are being duped and conned by the organisation. But you know something? You actually dupe and you con yourself first and foremost. And that's what happens to all these celebrities. They're conning themselves. Scientology offers immortality, superpowers, but the truth is you don't get any of that. Well, the immortality, I'm not too sure about because I don't think we're going to find out about that until we die. But certainly the superpowers. There's nobody in Scientology ever demonstrated any abilities above the norm. And there's £1 million on the table for anyone that can do that by an American guy. So, I mean,
James Randi.
Put your money where your mouth is, I guess, and that's what the guy's done, and no one's come forward.
But then, Pete,
leaving.
Look, but then, Pete, I appreciate you coming out and criticising, and the world needs criticisers of all kinds of organisations. But isn't that the basis of most religions? There are critics of every religion that say it's make believe, it's a fool. People are being bought into it. People are being promised stuff that isn't going to happen. There are scandals even here within the Catholic Church. We have it here in our own country. So doesn't that come with every religion?
Yeah, I appreciate what you're saying, but there's one thing wrong with all of that. Scientology is not a religion. Just because they say it's a religion doesn't make it a religion. It started off as a self-help group. It became a religion purely for tax purposes. There was a meeting held with L. Ron Hubbard and a number of lawyers, and he said, how can I stop paying tax on this? And what happened was they said, well, if you're a religion, and of course he'd had the idea in his head for a long time, but they are not a religion. Absolutely, in no sense of the word, is Scientology a religion. And that might upset some Scientologists, but you know what? At the end of the day, it's just a global criminal racket.
So back to this meeting then that Tom Cruise has. Do you think that the whole Scientology thing will come up at all, or will it just be a nice shaky hands thing? Why do you think it's a secret thing without the press? This sounds like something that the press would eat up. Well,
Tom, as you probably know, is avoiding all press interviews. He's also then flying to the UK tomorrow, where he's going to do a pre-recorded one with Graham Norton, who seems to like him. Actually seems to be in awe of him. So he's not really putting himself in a position where anyone can ask awkward questions. And that's kind of upsetting in a way, because you'd want him to, Tom, answer these bloody questions, why don't you? He just doesn't seem to want to do that. And that in itself is rather suspicious. And it puts... it makes Scientology look suspect, because Tom hasn't spoken about Scientology for months, actually for years now,
Well, if you had your own chat show, Pete, and you were having Tom Cruise on, I would definitely watch that programme. But for now, you'll just have to do with talking to us on Spin. Pete Griffiths, ex-Scientologist, thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks, Claire. Thanks, Jonathan.